Crime and safety experts have applauded Mayor Breed's campaign to increase police presence in the city, but also pointed out the situation would not have spiraled out of control had the city not reduced police funds and power in the first place. Frank Ma, a former law enforcement official, stated in an interview last month that, quote, "It is good that Mayor Breed is doing something big now, but she's fixing a problem that she and the city helped create. They made police an enemy to many and got rid of a bunch, and now they're surprised there are major problems." That is a good point.
Great point.
I mean, what the fuck did they expect?
But isn't this what they do? Like,
everything woke turns to shit.
Well, isn't it what they do? Like, and there's no way being like, oh, we were wrong, so we're gonna adjust course. It's we sank the boat, but we saved 8 people. Yeah. So let's focus.
It's what's going on with COVID now. Now that all the bodies belong to Biden, now there's nuance in the conversation. Now it's like, oh, they didn't die from COVID, they died with it. It's fucking totally different, man. Only half the people in the hospital even are there for that. Like, oh yeah, well, where was that fucking nuance last year, fuckface, or the last 2 years?
Yeah.
So the next example of somebody having to reverse course is Lori Lightfoot.
That's. I know you're a huge supporter, and it's just hard for us to go after her. But.
Yeah, gorgeous lady. So Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has changed her position on a number of issues facing her city in recent years. Obviously, we talked about
increasing crimes,
the crime stuff. So in response to increasing crime rates in Chicago in 2020, Donald Trump floated the idea of sending federal agents into the city to crack down on gangs and gun violence. Lightfoot responded to Trump by telling him not to send federal agents and instead helps the city address violent crime by cracking down on the proliferation of illegal guns across the country. So her solution to South Chicago being dominated by guns, right, illegal guns and gun crime, her solution was to pass gun control legislation nationwide that affects legal gun owners.
Mm. Yeah.
That's called victim blaming, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not great. So the following year in 2021, Lightfoot proposed cutting $80 million from the police budget while violent crimes continued to rise. Now the Chicago mayor is publicly pleading for federal agents to be sent to bolster the ranks of the city's police force and help quell the surge in shootings and homicides.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
In December,
Chicago saw 4,270 shootings.
That's it?
Which is only a 9% increase over the previous year.
Well, I mean, when you look at it that way, it's not that bad, Dan.
Yeah, and a 5% increase in homicides. But it's been a steady slope upwards for a while in Chicago, where most crime in most cities has gone down significantly since the early 90s. It's not been the case for Chicago. They've been more of a roller coaster. In addition to the request for ATF agents to assist with gun violence, Lightfoot also requested more federal prosecutors to handle the new cases generated by the increase in police presence. Lightfoot's also called on judges to immediately stop releasing defendants with ankle bracelets following their arrest for violent crimes, saying the electronic monitoring system is, quote, fundamentally broken. It's catch and release on people that murder. They'll probably come back, right?
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, they usually turn themselves in, don't they?
No, what they do is murder more. Yeah, actually.
No shit.
There's been a couple of them there in Chicago that have killed other people while they were fucking on home confinement for killing somebody. What the fuck, man? Lightfoot's also notably, over the last couple of weeks, butting heads with the Chicago Teachers Union, who wants to return to remote learning due to increasing cases of COVID. Now, there is literally no danger here. Not one person, not only has no one died from Omicron globally, no one in the United States has even been put on a respirator because of it. Not one person in the United States with Omicron has been put on the vent. Not one.
But it's
not one.
Yeah.
So these teachers are cowards. And it's time to defund public education.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that on another show with Corey DeAngelis.
Oh, yeah.
He's a very smart guy.
You don't ever say that about me.
Well, not prone to lying.
I'm a doctor.
Boy, I'm just going to kill myself. Anyways, the teachers union recently voted not to teach in person until there were new COVID measures in place or case numbers decreased, which, by the way, they said that they're pushing for remote learning, but what they're doing is an illegal strike, right? They have to vote to strike.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. What they're doing is illegal. So Lightfoot has told them, we're not going to pay you. Fuck off.
Actually, it's called a wildcat strike.
It is. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's not, but that's not legal, right? That breaks the terms of their collective bargaining agreement. Anyways, Lightfoot, as most mayors in the U.S. have been, are now advocating for in-person learning and oppose school closures. That's after a huge report by the New York Times that adolescent people are blowing their fucking brains out, hanging themselves, and swallowing pills because they're losing their fucking minds being stuck at home, and they're not learning shit either. There are severe developmental issues, particularly with young people, and that's who this affects the most. So instead of switching to remote learning, the school district canceled classes altogether, which prompted lawsuits from some parents. On Wednesday, a proposal was approved to reopen school and suspend the union's work action that saw teachers refuse to give their lessons in person, which prompted the class cancellations. Just to be clear, the watchdog for public education in Chicago did a little study over the course of 2020 and 21. And when Chicago teachers were engaged in remote learning, the average teacher logged in less than 3 times per week. It was like 2.8 times per week they would log in to even check on their students. So these lazy cunts aren't worried about some fucking cold. What they're worried about is being able to sit their fat asses at home, right, and do nothing and get paid for it with your tax dollars. Fuck you, suck my dick. The deal also includes a set of conditions where individual schools would return to remote learning based on rate of staff absences or students in quarantine or isolation. So she capitulated on that.
Yeah.
Like Lori Lightfoot allowed these fucking social terrorists to fucking force close schools if they meet certain requirements where there's no actual danger to anybody.
Gave them a goal to reach to.
Yeah. That's all she did. She gave them a fucking goal to reach. She gave them a fucking date that we're going to pull out of Afghanistan. That's what she did. And these people don't give a shit about kids at all. They shouldn't be allowed to be teachers. If you voted to not go into in-person classes with all of the information available showing how damaging it is to children, knowing that COVID poses literally no threat to children, right? And marginal, if any, threat to you, let's be real, especially at this point, then you don't care about kids.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit, and you don't deserve to be a fucking teacher. All these people should be fired. They should pull a Reagan with the fucking FAA and just fire all of them, every single one of them. At a late news conference, Lightfoot praised her team and hailed in-person learning, having rejected the teachers' union calls for wholesale return to remote learning. She said, "We can never forget the impact on the lives of our children and their families. They must always be front and center. Every decision has to be made with them at the forefront." Well, it wasn't. You still fucked it up, you stupid bitch. And you're a pathetic excuse for a human being. That's how I feel.
100%. I mean, it's just dumb. Like, right? Like, again, it's like you give an inch, take a mile, right? And it's like yeah, it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, so there's another element to this that I'm just going to briefly mention it here so you guys can go look it up and be ready for the show whenever we do it. There's a guy named Corey DeAngelis, Corey space DEANGLES. So he's part of this school choice movement. And what it says is it costs $23,000 a year in New Jersey to educate one child in a public school. So if the parent should be able to look at that and say, I want that money, and I'm going to spend it however I want on their education.
Yeah.
And that will result in something very specific. People think it's defunding education entirely. No, what it's doing is creating a marketplace for education.
Here's the issue, right? The issue, and I looked at this a long time ago, was like charter schools, right? Mm. So there's no competition. The reason that all these teachers can fucking do this is because like there's no competition. Like they have no reason to give a better product. Right, like the education of our children is relying on a government institution.
Right, so basically, it's tied to like test scores and stupid shit like that. Right.
Well, it's tied to test scores on one aspect of it, but it's basically it's attendance based. So these schools are attendance based funding. So that's why whenever you don't come to school, they send the police after you, or you get in trouble, or it's all these. It has nothing to do with that we want you to be smarter. It is the fact that they don't get paid if your ass isn't in the chair.